This episode isn't going to scare you, is it?
No, I don't think. What's that? Oh, wait, it's just you.
All right. You ready?
Yes.
All right. Episode number 7. Coming down in 3, 2,
100.
1. Hi, and welcome to episode number 7 of our father-son podcast, Conversations with Myself.
A journey of self-discovery.
I'm Brent, and this is my 12-year-old doppelganger, Xavier. Say hi, Xavier.
Hi, Xavier.
Thank you guys for tuning into our podcast. We try to find time during our daily lives to record a new episode. It's been about a week and a half since our last episode, just because we stay on the go. So,
yeah.
Since our last episode, anything major been happening in your life that you want to tell our loyal listeners and viewers about?
No, nothing too big. Nothing too big, not at all.
Actually, I had a couple things pop up. We had a whole episode dedicated to Jason Isbell because we went and saw Jason Isbell back in September. And then your mom and I just went to night 1 of his 7-night residency at the Ryman in Nashville on Friday night. So Daddy's a little tired today.
Nice.
But we asked you to go, and you said what?
No.
Yeah. Why didn't you want to go see Jason Isbell again?
Man, I don't know.
You know how many times I've seen Jason Isbell?
106.
Close. 14.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Fun fact, this is my first fun fact of the podcast, I've now seen Jason Isbell more than Pearl Jam, which is saying a lot.
Really?
I've seen Pearl Jam 12 times, your mom and I have, and then I've seen Jason Isbell in different variations. I saw him with the Drive-By Truckers. I've seen him 14 times now.
Wow.
One other thing we want to say before we get into our subject for today is we want to say a special hello to my good childhood friend, Ray Asensio. Ray, I grew up with Ray. He lived just a couple blocks from me, and he started his own podcast earlier this year called D Sweet Nation, and you guys can check out that podcast. It's more sports oriented and talks to a lot of local sports stars in and around the Michigan area. He actually talked to Andre Weathers, who graduated from Flint Central a year before me. He went on to play for Michigan and the New York Giants. A great episode that I listened to just last week. And Ray and I have been exchanging text messages. And I told him, I said, you're one of the reasons why Xavier and I launched a podcast, because I listened to your podcast and I was kind of motivated. And we've been talking about being on each other's podcast. And so I figured out a way to record phone calls. So hopefully here within the next couple of weeks, we can have Ray call in to our podcast when we record it. And we kind of talk to him about my childhood and high school. And you can ask him some questions about how dorky I was as a kid.
Dad, I already know how dorky you were. You were. I don't even think that I would want to know.
I know, because I look at you and I think, oh yeah, I was dorky as a kid. Burn!
I mean, it's just true.
Do you want to tell them what the subject of today's podcast is?
The subject for today is Halloween. Halloween,
indeed. Oh, one more thing before we get into our Halloween subject. What TV show did I introduce you to, and have we been binge watching?
Quantum Leap.
So this is kind of cool. Xavier came to me about a week or so ago and said, Dad, I had this idea. And he started telling me his idea. And I said, this sounds a lot like a TV show called Quantum Leap. You remember what your idea was? Tell me the original idea.
So basically someone would be grounded, I guess, and they would be coming out of their room, and then their mind gets transported to another world. And instead of like being a completely different person, they're the same person, but like they look a little different, like their clothes are different, and they just they have to complete a good deed, which is hard because they weren't necessarily a bully, but they weren't a nice kid. And basically they have to hope that the next time that they open the door, it will make them go home.
So I may have totally misinterpreted what you were talking about originally, but when you said that, I thought that sounds exactly like Quantum Leap. And so we, well, not exactly, but kind of, sort of. And so we found it on Amazon Prime, and then we were like halfway through the second season, and Amazon Prime started charging it for us. But then we found it on NBC, and
Pretty sure that season 3 and up is you have to pay, but
really,
that's
on NBC.
I thought that's what it said. I thought that it said like the first 2 seasons were free, but What do I know?
See, there's nothing free in life, son.
No, there is not.
Anyway.
They say you can't put a price on happiness. There it is, $5.99.
Yeah. So, well, we're almost done with season 2, and it is just as good as I remember it.
Yeah.
One other thing before we get in our subject, a lot of stuff happens in my life. Apparently, you just sit around and watch TV and play shows.
It's true. Play shows, really.
I was selected for jury duty for the month of October, and we plan on doing an episode about my experience in jury duty, but I want to wait till my month of service is over, and I'm not going to talk specifics, but just some things that be a nice little civics lesson for you.
Yeah.
There's some interesting things that happen during the jury selection process. So
and
that's
maybe even the audience, because there's a good chance that most of them have not been.
right. And if a lot of our listeners haven't been to jury duty, you can kind of find out what it entails. So again, after this will be probably in early November after my month of service is over. So
Yeah.
all right, we will get on to the recording of today's subject matter, Halloween. We are about a week and a half away from Halloween, so I thought, what better time than now to dive into some stories and questions about the spooky season. And you're saying I can go first this week, right?
Do you mind if I go first?
That's fine by me. We're flying by the seat of our pants here.
Yeah.
Or we can go one question, then me and you, and just back and forth.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so what was your favorite costume that you wore?
Back when I was a kid, back in the especially the late 70s and early 80s, they had a lot of these, like, I think they're like plastic or vinyl things you'd buy in a store, and you had like these masks that you would put. I don't know if they still make them or not. They were awful costumes, but that's what I remember when I was a kid. And there's a picture of me and Uncle Jason. I dressed up as Mork from Ork. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Do you really?
Not.
Oh, got excited there for a minute. There was a show on in the 80s called Mork and Mindy, and Robin Williams was the voice of the genie in Aladdin, and he played
I thought it was Will Smith.
We're not even going to discuss what you just said right now. Anywho, Mork was an alien from outer space. He came down here and he had to try to inhabit the Earth with an Earthling woman, and I was Mork one year, and that was when I was a very little kid. And then as I got older in high school and I stopped trick-or-treating, I would sit around the house and I would scare kids as they would come up to our porch for treats. And one year I got a butcher's apron and I slathered it with fake blood.
I think that Gamey told me about that when we were
I scared so many kids that year. And I laid on the porch like I was like a dummy, and people thought that I wasn't real, and I would just get up and scare them. So that was a lot of fun.
Did you ever get any candy after that? Like they dropped their bags or something?
No, but I did freak some kids out. That was a lot of fun. I had fun with that.
But I'll get the feeling I'm going to do that soon too.
I probably. I mean, it's in your bloodline.
Yeah.
All right, so it's my question, right?
Yes.
Okay. This is a question I was telling you about earlier that I didn't even know the full answer to. You're 12, so not counting this year.
Wait, I'm 12?
Sometimes it's so difficult doing a podcast with someone who takes things literal.
Yes.
Anywho, you're 12, and not counting this year since you haven't gone out yet, you've dressed up for Halloween 11 times. Can you name all 11 Halloween costumes that you've worn over the years? I think I came up with 7.
I can maybe get some. Do I have to do it in order?
No.
Okay, so let's see. So the first one that comes to mind is my Buzz Lightyear costume.
I remember that one the most because you had like a sugar high during that whole Halloween night, and you kept going around telling people, "Thanks for the headache," and you were like cornholio going, "Ah!" like with a sugar rush.
You want to know the reason I remember that one?
Why?
I remember it was just down the street actually, and we were walking up to a house, and I remember they had this motion sensory decoration, and I got really scared, and then I think the person that was there was a clown or something.
That wasn't that year.
Oh.
It was a different year.
Which one was that? I remember Luke Skywalker.
I did not have Luke Skywalker down. So, okay, there's Luke Skywalker. There's 2.
I was Darth Vader.
See. I did not have Darth Vader down. How did I? So you were Luke and Darth. Okay, there's 3.
I remember I was a Ninja Turtle, but I don't remember which one.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I didn't have the specific one, but I had that one.
Yeah. I was Kai from Ninjago.
Kai from Ninjago. I had that one. I was excited. I remember that one.
I was Ash from Pokemon.
Ash from Pokemon. I got that one. That's 6.
Which one was I last? I don't remember. I think that's all I can remember.
You went through a big Mario Brothers phase.
I was Mario one time.
And then what was your favorite cartoon and toy when you were like 2 years old? We still have the costume in your closet.
Cars?
No, Thomas the Train.
Thomas the Train.
You even had a little whistle that you would blow as you went up. That's the year the guy down the street scared you.
That's the year.
Do you remember your very first Halloween costume?
No.
It's adorable. I'm going to put a picture up on the YouTube video. You were a duck. You were a little yellow duck. And we took you to Channel 6. That's when I still worked there. And we put you down on the floor, and you were like crawling on the floor, and you looked like a little duck. And that's all I could remember. I had a duck, Thomas, Buzz Lightyear, Mario, Ninja Turtle, Ash, and then Kai. But we're missing some.
I can vaguely... I was Ron Weasley last year.
Oh, from Harry Potter. Yeah. I forgot about that one. Were you a vampire at all?
No, I don't think I've really been anything scary.
Okay. Well,
yeah, just like worn like costumes.
I'll have to confer with Mommy on some of the ones that I missed.
Yeah.
All right. So that was my first question.
I think that was like 10 costumes.
We've got most of them. Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
so my second one is, was there any costume from other people that you really liked?
Yeah. So I used to go trick or treating with Uncle Jason quite a bit. And he always had some of the coolest costumes. You know who Jason Voorhees is, right? Hockey mask guy, Friday the 13th.
Oh, yeah, him.
He dressed up. He had like some coveralls. He had the Jason mask. He had a machete. He looked really good. And he didn't go as this, but he had the Freddy glove with the nails.
Really?
Yeah. He let me borrow it one time. He had some cool costumes.
Nice.
Yeah. So those were, and I remember remember I told you I was a huge Batman fan?
Yeah.
Somebody dressed up as Jack Nicholson from The Joker. I want to say it was Jeff Withers. And he looked just like, he did this was in 7th grade. He did the whole makeup and hat and so he looked really good from Batman.
Yeah.
Okay, that's mine. Oh, wait, it's my turn now. All right, so I distinctly remember being in, I guess it was 6th or 7th grade when I went out trick-or-treating, and I went up to a woman's house, and I kid you not, she looked at me, because I was pretty, tall by that age. She looked at me, looked up and down, and said, "Nope, you're too big," and she refused to give me candy. Can you believe that?
What?
Yeah, so that's when I knew, I was like, all right, it's time to wrap up this trick-or-treating thing. So just a general question, at what age do you think you should stop trick-or-treating?
I don't know, I think that it's a reasonable age, like 80, 81-ish.
They're giving you free food, so take advantage of it while you can.
Like, I'd say really until, like, I think that I'll do it until, like, that people are like, yeah, I think you're too old to be doing this.
And you might not, but you might grow out of it. You're like, I don't really want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we go and we do like the trunk or treat stuff and go to the churches, and then we'll go out with like your cousins and we'll go around Trimble and stuff. So it's kind of a family affair. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna do 2 because you kind of just answered one. How long were you doing it until 6th or 7th grade? Right?
Yeah, I remember. I think it was 7th grade because I was going out. I went with Chris Herrick, who was my best friend at the time. Him and his family, I would go trick-or-treat with them. And I remember being so embarrassed that woman said, "Nope, you're too big." And I was like, this is how trick-or-treating ends for me, I guess. I guess I could, it's just one woman. I don't know why she was like the authority on trick-or-treating, but I took it to heart and I was like, all right, I guess I'm done. So. Okay.
And the other one is, what is your favorite candy?
All right. So I'm going to merge yours with mine because I asked the same question. I put down what's your favorite and least favorite Halloween candy. So I will go first since you asked me. My favorite, I love Skittles. I will dig through your bag and I will find Skittles and Snickers bars. I love Snickers bars. And like things I don't like, bit of honey or anything licorice. But Skittles.
So I'll give you my Twizzlers this year then.
My red Twizzlers are okay, but Skittles... Starburst too. I like those.
Yeah.
Least favorite candy. I said bit of honey and just what's the not? I can't. There's another chocolate bar I don't like, but But those are my least favorite one. Then my favorite, Skittles. I love Skittles, in case you didn't hear that. This episode of Conversations with Myself brought to you by Skittles and Mountain Dew. Cool, refreshing Mountain Dew. Okay,
Dad, we might actually get sued because of that.
I was hoping we get a sponsorship. No, we're like promoting them. All right, go. What's your favorite and least favorite Halloween candy?
I think my favorite would probably be either M&M's or Hershey's.
Just like the regular chocolate bars?
Yeah.
You don't like the peanut M&M's, right?
No.
See, that's why I like going through and I take out the peanut M&M's because you're real specific on what candies you like.
Yes, that is
Which
true.
is good for me and Mommy because we raid your bag and you never notice it's gone because you don't like that anyway. I'm going to turn the fan on, so.
Okay. So I think, and for my least favorite ones, I'd probably have to say like Reese's.
Like Reese's peanut butter cups? You are an insane person. There's chocolate in my peanut butter. There's peanut butter in my chocolate.
Yeah, the guy who said there's peanut butter in my chocolate. I actually voiced him.
What about Reese's pumpkin eggs and Reese's bunny rabbits at Easter time? Man, I know I was in the hospital when you were born, but I'm still. I don't know because
I'm not finished.
Okay, what?
There's also Tootsie Rolls.
You just broke your Gammy's heart.
I love you, Gammy.
Your Gammy would love. She raided my Halloween bag for Tootsie Rolls.
But wouldn't she love me then? Because if she ever visited for Halloween, she would get
all your Tootsie Rolls. Yeah.
Well, now that I've made some more enemies, now it's your turn
to ask a question.
Yeah.
All right. So I like this one here. When I was in school, primarily elementary school, Potter Panthers. Shout out to Ray again. Ray's a big Potter Panthers fan. One of the best parts of Halloween was dressing in our costumes and wearing it to school. We even had like a parade of costumes in the gym after lunch. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've never really been able to wear your costumes to school, right?
What do you mean?
Like you can't wear your Halloween costume to school on a school day. Like if Halloween falls on like a Wednesday, you can't wear your costume to school.
Incorrect.
All right, correct me.
So you were kind of right. In elementary school, basically we could wear a costume, but only if we had a book.
If it was a literary character.
Yeah. Also, that's a dumb idea, but anyway. So basically, we also paraded around the hall. We also paraded around the halls.
So, you could really skirt the issue if you just, say you're Darth Vader, you could find a Star Wars book, right?
Yeah.
So, there was a loophole.
Yeah, there's a loophole. Yeah, I use that loophole a lot. Pokemon, Ninja Turtle. Did I even bring it up for Ninja? Anyway, you get the idea.
Do you have Halloween party? Did you, not in middle school, but in elementary school, did you have Halloween parties?
I think we did.
And did you get to wear costumes and have, because that was like one of the best days of the year was Halloween. Yeah. We got to show off our costumes. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is my turn?
Do you have more questions?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right, that'll allow me a chance to drink some more cool, refreshing Mountain Dew.
Not sponsored. So what are your thoughts of horror movies and horror TV shows for that matter?
We touched about this on the movies episode. When I was a kid, growing up, middle school and high school, I loved them. I couldn't get enough of them. I would watch all those sorts of stuff. And I still like the scary movies, but just like the Saw movies. The first one I liked.
Do you want to play a game?
Exactly. But some of that stuff I'm squeamish now. I'm like, I can't watch that. I don't know if it's because I've been cut open for surgery. And I'm like, oh, I know how that feels.
Yeah, I don't like watching scary movies because I'm a big baby.
Well, I like I like something that's thought provoking, and it's because all the horror movies have been done before. They like Halloween and Friday the 13th are all kind of the.
Don't forget Friday the 14th.
Oh, that's Saturday the 14th. There's actually a movie called Saturday the 14th.
Are you serious?
Yes, there is. And like Freddy, they're all kind of like knockoffs of the same thing. So if there's a...
And Zombie Town, Zombie World, Zombie Land, Zombie Combies.
So if there's something new, like a new... like when the Blair Witch Project came out. Do you remember hearing about that?
Yeah, I think so.
So when it first came out...
It was revolutionary.
It was, like at the time, because they didn't spend hardly any money on it. And then the way they marketed it... and I don't want to tell you too much about it because I don't want to spoil anything for you.
Wait, didn't you say that like they actually filmed it in the wild, and each night they actually took away some of their food?
Yeah, so like the directors kept like making the actors more and more like on edge, so it came across as real. So when that movie came out, people were going crazy for it because they thought that the actors were real people and that something happened to them. So that was kind of revolutionary. Yeah. But
so it was based off of a true story that's not really a true story.
They made up the whole story, if I'm not mistaken. And then I like movies like about ghosts. There's one called The Conjuring, which had a spinoff called Annabelle, which Xavier's scared of Annabelle.
Yes, I am.
So there's
like Casper's Friendly Ghost.
So there's no scary movie that you'd want to watch or scary show?
Not really. I've heard of one that has like an interesting premise though.
What?
Isn't it called like The Purge? Where it's like where like one day a year that any crime could be committed.
Yeah, it's kind of not really a scary movie. It's more like
suspenseful, creepy.
Sometimes they show a lot of violent stuff in it. So I guess it'd be in the horror movie genre, but yeah, the first one was an interesting concept, and I think they just kind of went crazy.
Yeah, it also sounds like really deadly.
It's an interesting concept, though.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, when I was your age, I was watching scary movies all the time, and I'm glad you don't because they're probably not good for you.
Yeah, like whenever I just like overhear or even make up a story that's remotely scary, here's what I'm like at night.
Well, and what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a writer.
Right. So when I was your age, I wanted to be a writer too. And what I used to do is I would write stories for my class, and I would read them for my class. And most of them were like scary stories. And the class would always like, "Hey, Brent, read us a story." And so I would read these, and they were very detailed and based on all the scary movies I used to watch.
I think that I actually used to do something like that, and I wrote down I made a picture book, and Mom wrote it down or something, and then my teacher would read it out loud. I think it was
in front of the class.
I think so. They weren't really good, but still.
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
You gotta be bad before you can be good. All right. So I know you've done both, but I'm kind of curious as to your preference. Do you like going door to door with the family trick-or-treating to the different houses, or do you like going to a centralized place like those trunk or treats, or going to a church or something like that?
Gotta be honest, door to door.
Yeah, there's something. I mean, I like the trunk or treats too because you get a lot of candy in one place, but there's something about that traditional door to door.
Like you can't not love going trick or treating door to door.
But we do. That's why I said it's good to go in a group, because there is something inherently dangerous about walking up to somebody's house. And
there are a lot of psychopaths out there.
There are.
So go in a group.
I watch a lot of investigation discovery shows to back that up. So yeah, I mean,
alone.
going door to door. There's something to be said. It's just a classic fun thing to do. But we encourage you to go in a group. I always win as a group. Don't go by yourself. If your parents don't go with you, then go with a group of friends and take a buddy with you.
Yeah. Okay.
You remember that guy over here that scared you that one time?
Yeah.
So when I was little, I went trick-or-treating with Uncle Jason, and I walked up. I'll never forget this. I can still vividly see it. I had to be like 3 or 4. I walked up to the porch, and I could see in the guy's living room, he was sitting in a chair. And then as I said trick or treat, he leapt out of his chair and came towards the front door, and I fell off the porch. I was so scared.
I think I remember one. It was like a couple years ago, and I don't think it was. I was with I think I was with my church friends, and like there was this one guy, and like he like I remember his mask. It was like a baby type face or something.
That in and of itself is freaky. Yeah.
Yeah. And like he was wearing like a robe, and it was kind of creepy.
I may have reported that guy to the authorities. I'm not quite so sure about that gentleman. All right, I've got one more question. Do you have any more questions?
I've got one more.
All right, I'll ask you. You can ask your question.
Okay, so out of all the stuff, the costumes, your candy, the horror movies, what would you say is your favorite part of all of Halloween?
To be honest with you, the cool part, and I know this is kind of people will say, you're just catering to your being a dad, but taking your trick-or-treating for the first time we really took out trick-or-treating wasn't when you were the duck. It was when we first moved in this house. It would have been 2008, and just seeing you walk up, and we saw a video of it, and just in your little sweet Xavier voice, and you saying "twick-or-tweet," that was pretty cool. And just the surrealness of taking your own child trick-or-treating and then raiding their candy bag. And, everything my mom and dad said about eating your child's candy was true. I love it. It's like they do all the work and you get all the candy.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So
you could just stay, your parent, you could, for all you care, you could just stay home, and then then I could come back and you could raid my candy while I'm sleeping like a robber.
I do that. I mean, that's, you go out and while you're sleeping, I go through your candy bag, I pull out all the good stuff, and then you never know what's gone. I do that. So when I was an adult, that was one of my favorite things. And then, like I said earlier, when we used to have those Halloween parties in elementary school, that was fun part of my childhood.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got one more question, and I pretty much already know what the answer is, but what will it take for me to finally convince you to go through a haunted house?
I don't know.
Let's put it this way. We have a place here in Union City. It's called Fear Factory. 3 floors of fear. What would it take for you to go through Fear Factory? Because I've toured Fear Factory in the daylight hours when I was doing a commercial for them at the radio station. It was scary and the lights were on.
Yeah, I really don't want to go now. Dad, if you're trying to make me go, don't make me even more scared.
True story. The guy at Fear Factory told me when I was doing that tour that somebody got so scared one time, they made a poopy in their pants.
Dad, you're really not making me want to go now.
It's not real. It's all fake.
You said it yourself. You were scared, and all the lights were on.
I get in my head. As long as people don't touch me. Me and your mom went to a haunted house one time, and people were grabbing at my ankles, and I'm like, "Don't touch me!" And they come running out with that chainsaw, and I can handle anything but the chainsaw. Yeah. And when I hear that chainsaw sound, I'm like, that's what happened. We went to a haunted house here in town one time, and they ushered us into a room. It was pitch black, and then all of a sudden, Bad to the Bone by George Thorogood came on, and then lights started flashing, and there was a guy in the corner with a chainsaw, and I'm like, get me out of here, So,
well, as long as I don't want to go to. Does it make you sign a waiver?
They might actually. I can't remember now.
Yeah, I do not. If they make you sign a waiver, I don't want to go.
It's something that you got to experience at least once in your life.
I think I wouldn't want to go to something like Fear Factory. I would want to go to one of those regular ones where they're just it's just someone that decorated their house kind of spoopy. Like
Fear Factory, because it's 3 floors. If you're on the second floor, there's no easy way out of there.
Yeah.
Actually, they do have safety. They show me where people do get scared and they're like, I can't do any more of this, and then they usher you out. But yeah, it's a cool place. Anywho, and that's a free plug for Fear Factory, by the way. All right, so you have any more questions for me?
I do not. Do you have any other stories to share with our adoring audience?
I don't think so. Your mom and I would dress up before you were born. One time she went as, I was almost like a princess maybe.
Yeah.
I know she had a headband on. I guess that was, and then I was Jesus. I dressed up as the Lord and Savior, and I thought I pulled it off. We actually went to Creatures of Habit in downtown Paducah and got our costumes. What else were we? I think I dressed up as a Rastafarian Jamaican guy one year. I think that's what it was. I had a tie-dye shirt on.
Didn't you say you got married in Jamaica?
We did get married in Jamaica. That is, I don't know how that relates to Halloween.
It doesn't. It's not.
Your mom and I used to dress up for Halloween every so often. I think that was I don't think we did anything else crazy. I'm spacing on it if we did.
Do you want me to tell you what I want to be this year?
Oh, yeah. So we end on this note. So what are you going to be for Halloween this year?
So this year, I want to be Count Olaf from a series of unfortunate events.
And that's the guy that Doogie Howser plays, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fun fact, trying to get a wig for me is pure nightmare.
Well, I guess people know that show, but it's not a costume that's like out in stores that you're gonna get at Walmart.
Not to mention, something that makes it even more frustrating is that Count Olaf, he's a theater person, and every time he's trying to get the Baudelaires, he dresses up into a costume. So can't simply just put into a phone Count Olaf costumes, because it just shows us stuff from the show.
Pops and clicks. I have no idea what he was just saying right there.
Well, I hope you do, because that's going to be all people.
All right, so remember this year, bite-sized Snickers and Skittles. That's what we're going for, okay?
No, we're going for Hershey's and M&M's, and you're not going to get them.
Twix, too. I like Twix. I used to like Mars bars, but they don't make Mars bars anymore. They call them Snickers almond.
Mars bars.
I'm getting off the beaten path. All right, so that was our episode 7 about Halloween. Again, we're going to have an episode about jury duty coming up soon. We're going to try to work on an episode where we talk to my good friend Ray. Again, check out his podcast, D Sweet Nation. Thank you to everybody that's been following us along, either if you've been downloading the podcast, you've been watching us on YouTube, leaving all the comments. Jana, Miss Jana from down the street, she left us a nice comment on our last YouTube video. And Elaine, she left us a nice comment on a YouTube video. So thank you to all the good folks that are watching on YouTube and downloading the podcast. And feel free to leave us a review on iTunes or the Google Play Store, or wherever gets your favorite podcast. So thank you guys for following along with Xavier and myself. And we'll be back soon with episode number 8 on Conversations with Myself.
A journey of self-discovery.
Brought to you by Cool, Refreshing Mountain Dew. Sorry, that's it. Bye,
everyone.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.